Hi, this is Sean Hafer, and in this tutorial we'll be going over creating some orthographic projection inside of Adobe Illustrator. All right, so first off, I'm going to, let's create a new document. So I'm going to do a File, New, or you can Control or Command N. And I'm just going to go for my print options, and I'm going to do a 11 by 17, otherwise known as a tabloid. So if I click on that, now over here, if you want to double check that that is tabloid, let's go to inches. There we go, 11 by 17. And I want to go landscape here. And I also want to go RGB color, just to have that there. All right, so once I have that there, I'm going to call this Orthographic. And that looks good. And I'll go ahead and create that. All right, now you can see we've got our artboard, which is 11 by 17. And I've got a image with the dimensions on it that we can use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and place it. It's just a PNG, but I'm going to place it inside my document here. So I'm going to go to File, come down to Place, or you can Shift and Command P or Shift Control P. Go to my desktop, and let's grab Ortho Shape 02, and we'll place it. Now you can see here now when you go to place, it gives you a little cursor that you can sort of click and drag out to the size you need. So if I drag that out, I think that'll be fine for us. And then we've got that placed. So anytime I want to, I can move this off my artboard. So if it's time to print, or I could delete it, whatever I need to do. But we'll just have it here for a second. So if I zoom in a little, I'm just using my Command or Control plus keys. We can see here basically our shape is 2.5 inches tall, about 2 inches on the wide on the bottom and 1 inch deep. And we've got this little cutout that looks like it's about 3/4 inch, right? 3/4 inch by 1 inch. So we can get that going. All right. So I'm going to zoom back out and look at my artboard and start drawing my shape. So if we look at the base one was 2 inches. So if we're going to start with our front view, we've got a 2 inches by 2.5 inches tall, or 2.5 inches high, right? So let me go ahead and I'm just going to start with a rectangle. So you could hit M. So I'll click here, type my width of 2 inches, tab down and do 2.5 for my height and hit OK. And then we've got our scale drawing there of what we've got. All right. So if we come in here now, we know we're 2.5 inches tall. We are 2 inches wide. Now let's create our little cutout. We know it's 3/4 inches tall and 1 inch wide. So I'm just going to go ahead and do another square. Just click somewhere here. Width is 1 inch on this one. And we know it's 3/4. So you could either type 3 divided by 4 or 0.75. And that'll give us our size there. So now I can go ahead and grab that. And let's say I line it up right here. And I'm going to zoom in, make sure I'm lined up. Okay, that looks good. And if I move over here, we see that is 3/4 inches from the top. So what I can do here is if I bring my top here and snap it, I've got, again, if you check your view, I've got my smart guides on. And I can set that there. And then I want to just move it down 3/4 inches. So I can do my move tool. So I could either go to Object, Transform, and Move, or Shift Command or Shift Control M. And I want to move it down 0.75 inches. So I've already got it in here, but if we do 0.75, and we've got our preview on, so you can see that's where it's popping down to, and we hit OK. And now we've got that there. I didn't set my layers up at the beginning, so let's go ahead. This one is our drawing, so I'm going to go ahead and make that drawing. And let's do another layer. I'm going to hold down my Option or my Alt key on this so that I can do my layer options right off the bat. And I'll call this one Guides. And instead of red, let's make it a different color. How about lavender? Hit OK. All right, so we've got our guides, we've got our drawing. I'm going to move my drawing up above my guides, and we've got that. Okay, so now back to this shape. Let's create this. So we want to basically just get rid of this segment on both shapes. So if I've got my first one, my small square selected, go to my scissors tool by hitting C, and then find that anchor, click, do the same one down here. Now remember, if you hold down Command or Control, you can get your selection tool. And now I can see I just selected that, let go of Command Control, and I can hit delete. And that's my first one. Now we want to go ahead and hold that Command Control down again. I'm still in my scissors tool, and I can select the larger rectangle. And on that, I want to do my C for my cut again. Find that intersect, hold down Command or Control, click on that, and then we can do our delete. All right, another thing, this is something I should have checked at the beginning, but I've got my fill. My fill was by default on instead of being empty. So we can't see behind there. So even though I cut, I can't select this because this is on top of the other. So what I can do, I'm just going to drag across everything with my selection tool. So just by hitting V to get that tool, and then go click on my fill swatch and make that none. Okay, now I can see my piece here. I did cut it before, so it is ready to go, but just in case, you could cut again, and then I can delete. Now we can see we've got our 2 points here that are not joined, and all I have to do is select those, Command or Control J, and we can see we've got our nice front view. All right, so if I zoom back out, I'm going to hit my Command 0 to go back to my full art board. So now I can draw my top view. So if we look at the top view, it's the same thing. We just mainly have to cut in here. So let's go ahead and we can create some guides in our guide layer. So I'm going to go to my line tool again, or hit the slash, either way you want to go. So I'm just going to drag up, holding down Shift, drag up, holding down Shift, and drag up again, holding down Shift. And I've got those, and what I'm going to do is hit my V for select tool or click over here, select those 3 lines, and remember to make guides. The shortcut is Command or Control +5. And then we've got our guides here. Now my guides are locked. I can't grab them. And just to make sure, go to your view, your guides, and if they're locked, it'll have unlock guides. If they're unlocked, it'll have lock guides. So it's always the opposite of what you need to do. Okay, so I've got those guides there. Now I know this is going to be 1 inch by 2 inches, so I can do another rectangle if I want. Just click in here, 1 inch, tab down to 2. Oh, sorry, width would be 2. Tab down to 1. Hit OK. And that drew it from that guide point. Now I want to take this and move it. I want it to be 1 inch away. So I'm going to have 1 inch space in between all of my sides here. So what I'm going to do is come in, make sure I snap so I'm right on top of the other one. I'm going to use my move again, and I can go to Shift Command M. And now to go up, remember, since the 0, 0 is way up here, we need to move in a negative direction. So vertical here, I just want to go -1. I can tab to see if that's what I want. That's exactly it before I make it permanent, and I just hit OK. And there we've got it 1 inch away. And then we can use this guide to draw in our line representing this inset here. So if I go to my line tool, and again, if you're rectangle is selected, just go ahead and for a second hold down your Command or Control. So then you can come in, Shift, drag, and we've got our line there. Now, if we're looking down from the top, this does not show, right? This is not a visible face here, that little sort of line edge that's going back there. So that would be a dotted or a dashed line. Now, what we should do is think about our hierarchy of our lines here. So if we come in, let's just set it up. So if we say, okay, I'm going to have one line up here. I'm just going to create a line with my line tool, and I'm going to go to my selection tool by hitting V, start dragging down, hold down Option or Alt and Shift, and I'm just going to drag down and create a second line, and then I'm going to hit Command or Control D to duplicate that last action, and that'll give me my third line. Or you can just drag another one down. So I'm going to make my main sort of outline, my main heaviest line weight, 2 points. So I've got that selected, go to my stroke, 2 points. For my secondary, so if I can see one of these lines where these faces meet, I'm going to go ahead and make that 1 point. All right, and that one was already there, so that's fine. And then for my dashed line, I'm going to come in here, click on stroke, and I want to click on dashed line, and I'm going to make that 10 points. Hit Tab. And then I also want to come up here and make that weight 0.75 by just clicking that down arrow once. And then over here, I want to make sure I'm in my second option here, align dashes to corners and path ends. So there we'll hit that. Okay, so that looks good. Go ahead and click off that. And now we've got these three that we can just sort of keep up here in the corner for now that we can use to set our line weights. And you might say, well, what do you mean by that? So if you've never used the eyedropper tool will take the various attributes of an object that you have selected, or that you select an object, use the eyedropper tool, and it'll pull attributes from the next object you select. So for example, if I grab this one here and maybe this one here by holding Shift, okay, and then if I use my eyedropper tool or hit I, and I click on this line, you can see it brings our weight up to 2 points. Then if I just went back to my V tool to grab that center path, I could use my I for eyedropper and then select my dotted line, right, because that's a hidden line, and then quickly just grab those. And you can grab those from anywhere in your illustration, but sometimes it's just nice to have a little legend up here to use. Okay, one thing I noticed when I was doing this is I put my guides accidentally on my drawing. Now we've got our guides locked, right? So I can't grab them. So this is a place where you would go in, go to your view, guides, unlock guides, or option, command, semicolon, or alt, control, semicolon if you're on a Windows machine. And just do our unlock guides here so that we can grab everything. So now I can grab those three lines. They're still guides, they're just unlocked. I'm going to cut them by using Command or Control X. And then I want to paste them into this layer by selecting this layer. Now if I just hit Command or Control V, remember that's going to paste to the center. That's not what we want. They're not in the same spot. So I'm going to undo that by Command or Control Z. Then I'm going to go to my guides, hold down Shift, and then Command or Control V and paste those in, and it'll paste in place. So it's right in this spot we need it. Now my guides are on my guide layer. The only thing I would say is right now, go to Remember and go to your View, Guides, Lock Guides, or your old Option, Command, semicolon. Cool. Now we can't accidentally bump these around. So once we have that view, we've got now our top view, which is what our plan view. We also have our front view. So I want to go ahead now and we want to create our side view over here. So we can use a 45-degree angle to create another guide that will then let us project our lines for our width and shoot them down to create our side view. So I'm just going to start with at the corner here of my shape, my front view. Start dragging. Now remember, if you hold down Shift, you can restrain to not just up, 90 degrees, but also 45. So if I come up here, just go a little above where I need to go. Actually, we will need to go taller later, so I'm going to go way out here for now. All right. And then I can just go ahead and do these two lines from here. So I'm shooting over this way, and I'm going to shoot over this way. All right. Now these two intersections, when we do create our guides down, 1, and this intersection right here, 2, that creates our width. It's the same width as our top view. So now I can come in here for the side view, draw one more to just get my height, that first inset, second inset, and the bottom. And then just to keep everything clean and get these, to make these guides, go back to my selection tool, hit V, just marquee around all of those. And then remember, it's Control 5 or Command 5. And now those are guides. And all those are on our guide layer to keep it nice and clean. So go back to my drawing layer. Now I know this is my side view, my right side view. Come in. I'm just going to use the rectangle again. Intersect to intersect. Boom. Go ahead and use my eyedropper tool. Hit I so I can grab that heavy line weight. Then go back to my line tool by just hitting my slash tool underneath backspace. And then draw. Now see when that's selected, I think I can still get in there. There we go. Hold down Shift, snap, intersect to intersect. Intersect to intersect. And then I can do my eyedropper tool. Well, first select both. V, grab those two. There we go. And then I can just do my eyedropper tool, hit I, and select on. Since we can see both of those edges, it wouldn't be dashed. It would just be our medium weight. And then we can click off that and see how we got. All right, get rid of those guides for a second. Cool, that looks good. All right, so now we want to go ahead and do our bottom view, right? So we could do the same thing here. Let's take go to our guides layer. We're going to use our line tool, draw out by holding down our Shift key to restrain to 45 degrees. And then we can create our guides again. So we've got this. We can just build off this one if we want. Build off this one. Oops. All right, those will be our two intersections we want to draw off of here. And again, draw down from our actual front view for our bottom. Okay, so now these, I'm not drawing these so they're lined up or anything. We're going to use these later to when we clean that up, we can just use those as our guides so we know how far exactly we could go just to the intersection of the guides to draw our construction lines. So they'll all be there for us, and then we can just turn off our guides that we used, and we'll have a nice clean drawing. Okay, so I've got this. Make those guides by hitting Command or Control 5. Johnny 5 is alive. That's how I remember it. Oops. There we go. And now we go back to our drawing. Let's go to our rectangle tool. Again, we've got this. Now, on something pretty simple like this, you might say, Sean, why don't we just copy and paste or copy this one up here and down? You could. It is exactly the same top and bottom. So it would be one way you could. You could just select both of those, start dragging down, Shift, hold down your Option key or Alt key so it creates a copy, and then snap it in. You could do that as well. That wouldn't be a problem. But I'm just drawing them by hand. All right, and that one, we'll do the same thing. Make sure I'm deselected, find that intersection, drag it down. That one, since that's already selected, I'll do my eyedropper. That one it will be hidden because it's inside, right? And then this other one, can hold our V key, boom, eyedropper, and we've got our heavyweight line up top. Cool. All right, and we've got that. So now we've got a couple more views to do. We've got to do our left side view, and then we'll do our back. Okay. So for our left side, we could do the same thing as we just did for here. Let's go ahead and draw our angle up and extend our, oh, I'm not in my drawing, so I'm going to go ahead and undo that since I realized I didn't jump back to guides. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead here, 45 degrees, and let's pull out our guides for up here. And then we can see our intersections here. Boom. Intersect. And then we can pull out our other guides we need here. Great. I'm just going to select those, turn them into guides. Command or Control 5. And now we've got all of our guides there. All right, so we now can see, oh, I didn't draw this one out. Just go back to my guides. Now, sometimes you can, by the fact that it depends on what's happening. So if I go to my rectangle tool, I can oftentimes get the smart guide to give me that. So right now I know I'm lined up. So if I didn't have that guide there, I could utilize that. Sometime, but again, I would then have to, if I need that guideline later, I'll have to draw it. So it's up to you how you do that. I like to kind of have all my guidelines in there. So hold down Shift, boom, and let's make that a guide by Control or Command 5. Cool. Back to our drawing. Let's do the side view. Now this one we can see. Let me hold my space bar down so I can move over. So this one we could see it would be basically the same as this, except these would be dash lines, correct? So because we're looking this direction from over here, we're like looking and we would not see those edges because they would be hidden by this one big face, right? All right. So that way we can just do our rectangle again. Make sure you get on the intersects. Go to our line tool. 1 and 2. Select these two and eyedropper it. Boom. Nice. All right. So then that's our big difference, right? So our back view or our left view, we cannot see that cut, that inset, these two edges, but from the right we can. All right. So now all we need is our back. Now, we don't have anything different really about the back. I'm just going to move this off my artboard here. Okay, so we've got room over here now. What we're going to do is we're going to create another 45 here that we can drag our guides up, shoot over to this 45, and then shoot down. All right, so we'll be able to do that. So I am going to go up. I'm going to click here. I'm going to start, again, 1 inch above. So I'm going to do a line segment. My angle, I want to be 90 degrees. So I can just type in 90. And I want the length to be 1 inch. And I'll go hit OK. Boom. Now I put that in my drawing layer. So what I want to do is, since that's pretty good, I'll go ahead and cut it. Command X, Control X, go to my guides, Shift, Command or Control plus V. Right now that's in my guides. So I can use my top view with the 45 to create my width, then shoot it over to this 45 and then shoot it down. All right, so let's try that. So again, in my guides selected, I've got from that 1 inch above, I wanted the same spacing as these. So I'm in my line, make sure nothing's selected so I can easily grab it and do our 45. Okay. And we can see here these, I could either just extend them. Now these are dotted. When I turn them into guides, they'll go back to normal. Right? So I just want to make sure I have my 3 spots. Then I'm going to go, and I'm just going to go ahead and switch to this so we can, it'll look good. All right. So then if I come over here, this is my first one. This will be the second. Nope, it doesn't feel like it snapped, did it? There we go. And then this top one. And we've got this one here that if I go to that endpoint or anywhere on it, I can hold shift and extend that up. So this one here, let's just drag it out. Start dragging, just hold shift. All right. I could have done that if I unlocked my guides and grabbed them all and done that way. All right, so now we've got our lines on this 45, same thing. Let's just shoot those down, find our intersections, shift it down, intersect, down, and our intersect here. And we're just going to be utilizing these guides here. So if you want to just extend those guides, again, go up to your view, guides, unlock, and we could grab these 3 that we need, these 4. Oh. And I'm going to my direct selection tool, and then I'm going to grab these just endpoints. And now I can stretch them out. Just make sure you hold shift so they stay. Perfect. Now, again, you can go back and lock your guides. So remember for that, it's Command, Option, and semicolon, or Control, Alt, semicolon. So now I shouldn't be able to grab them. Cool. Okay, so those are locked. Now let's just go ahead and add these to our, make these guides, the ones we just drew. Okay. Johnny 5 is alive, Command 5. And we've got our guides. Okay, so now we can see. Now, again, do I just, since this is a symmetrical object, theoretically I could have copied this, flipped it on the horizontal axis, and put it over here, but we're just going to draw it where we need to go. So I come in here, we'll grab our rectangle tool. And if we snap, we can see 2 inches by 2.5. That's exactly what we drew the initial front face. So it looks like we're in good shape there. We can do the same thing with this little one. Right, so inside, we're going to go this way because we're looking from the back. It's reversed, right? Think about, zoom out a little here. Yeah, I think if we're looking from the back of this, it would be flipped around, right? It'd almost be like a mirror. And now we just do our cuts. So if I zoom in, select the large, do my scissors tool with a C, find that. Boom. 2. Hold down our Command or Control, select that one, and delete. And then same thing, select this one, Command or Control to get our selection tool. Grab that, back to the scissors tool, C, and find that 1 and 2. Switch back to your tool temporarily, select it, and delete. And then last but not least, hit our V key to select, grab those, and our old command or Control J to join them up. All right, so I'm going to stop this video here. It's gotten it's pretty long, so that's how we can get all 6 of our views coming from just one image with some dimensions. All right, well, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it helpful.